Have no fear, Hippie Hero is here, and today we will see what appears on my YouTube recommendations. We will be watching a video by Kuhssir, that's how you say his name, Deer maybe. Um, Never really watched him. I'm kind of interested to see what he has to talk about. Just talking about like if Chucky deserves a nerf. My favorite movie killer and one of my least favorite DVD killers. So let's hop into it and see what he has to say. Second here. There we go.
On November 28th, 2023, The Good Guy was released into Dead by Daylight, and since then he's been a highly debated killer. It really does seem that an overwhelming majority of the community doesn't like our friend Charles. While he for sure has some defenders and they think the hate is a bit overblown, today I'm going to take a look at Chucky in today's landscape and try to figure out why exactly he's so hated. Quite frankly, when I first started on this video, I didn't really feel, what's the word, justified to talk about this. I wanted to get the opinion of people who actually play Chucky, because quite frankly, I don't play him very seriously, so I consulted friends as well as watched some discussion content about the good guy in preparation for this. Videos I used as well as some of the people I
Good
consulted with
research.
will be linked in the description below. When the good guy came to the live servers, he was immediately recognized as a top tier killer from the community. Even before he was released, well-respected players in the community were calling out the strength that Chucky would without a doubt have due to his scamper mechanic. For those lucky enough to not be playing at the time, Scamper allowed the good guy to go underneath a pallet to guarantee a
I feel
hit,
like it was lucky.
almost without any opportunity for a survivor to make any play around it. On May 9th, 2024, the changes to the good guy were announced, and since I don't want to take up a lot.
There was a lot of counterplay to a scamper. As I've even seen like survivors vault over it while he's scampering it. So there's lots and lots of counterplay to it and sneaking past him. Um, the main issue though is he had like an add-on that increased his haste while scampering, and then after he scampered, it was very, very easy for him to catch up. However, like a lot of times he could just simply leave the loop, and his cooldown was a lot longer. So if you actually made made him miss a dash, he did not have the same amount of power.
A lot of your time, I'll just tell you that the Chucky we had at this point is the Chucky we have now. Unless I've missed some small changes in my research, but I don't think I have. At this point, while the good guy and the good gal could no longer crawl under pallets to get free hits, the cooldown from Heidi Homo was reduced by 6 seconds, bringing it from 18 seconds down to 12. The Power Drill add-on could knock off another
And now it's
10%, which
like
I
10
think brings
seconds,
it
I
down to 10
believe,
seconds, but I'm not quite sure. This means that in the time it
without the
takes for you to hit the
add-on.
subscribe button, wink wonk, the killer has hit your teammate, got his power back, and then hit them again. And, quite frankly, they're about to DC in a blind rage. The average player base's issues with the little gremlin went from being John Scamper to now being the director of Dash, as well as his height. I mean, just look at him. I want to pick him up and shake him around. This leaves us in a situation where survivors have huge issues being able to deal with him, because Chucky, he just doesn't play like most killers. In my experience, survivors like killers that are more understandable and have counterplay that can quickly be learned. Things like chuck spots, which, side note, is one of my favorite terms that DVD players have come up with. These are something that take a little bit of time for a survivor to build up the game knowledge to deal with, instead of panicking and running directly into the killer's cold plastic embrace. Frustration leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to being a Sith, the end point of all
Oh,
survivor
you
raids.
can do that
Despite his chuck
over the
spots,
void
people don't
spot.
realize that he
Okay.
has the illusionary footfalls. These show survivors his movements when they cannot see him physically. Meaning that on paper, at least, it's harder to mind game with Chucky than it is most killers. He's relatively simple. He just has a dash, and he has some stealth, and you can see his footprints. That's it. That's all Chucky is. So what is it that causes so many players to fall for these chuck spots? Honestly, I think the main issue is that the player doesn't have the patience, since they don't have the knowledge to know exactly where the good guy is. Another thing that was brought up to me recently that I never considered was that Chucky has so many voice lines where he says something that's, well, let's just be honest, a little bit mean. You do have to wonder if this causes some players to become upset quicker than they usually would have. Getting downed and hooked instead of being down, laughed at, picked up, and the stupid doll says, "Get the fuck over here." Yeah, that's my Chucky impression. But yeah, you're probably going to be a bit madder than you would be in most situations. There isn't any real proof or anything I can really say to prove it, but when it was brought up to me as a
True.
possible thing, It did make a lot of sense. So let me know what you think in the comments. Does Chucky's voice lines cause people to get more irritated than usual? I do think that despite everything I've talked about in this video, genuinely, the good guy is a fine killer. He's relatively okay for a modern day Dead by Daylight killer. He has a dash like everyone else has to have. Yes, a strong dash, but nonetheless, that's just part of modern day killer design. As well, he has below average stealth that isn't ever worth really trying to make work, and an ability to ignore pallets that was nerfed to obscurity. So in my opinion, what is the number one reason that people do hate the good guy? Allow me to introduce to you an add-on called Rat Poison. In this background gameplay, you've probably noticed that when I'm using Slice and Dice, Survivor's ores are being shown. Well, the add-on gives Chucky 5 seconds of ore reading while performing Slice and Dice, which, if you're like me, you may think it sounds not that good. However, once you put the add-on into use, it's downright repulsive. Slice and Dice turns what should
Yeah, I will say Rat Poison, it's one of the strongest add-ons currently in the game. Definitely should have been nerfed or just removed entirely a long time ago. It's the equivalent of missing a blink on nurse or missing a charge on blight and seeing the survivors or instantly while you're charging up for it. Gotcha, yeah, see, it's wrong than just seeing the aura after the fact. You're seeing it while you're charging your power. It's all I'm all ears on command is very, very strong.
be a 50-50 to pal into something like an 80-20. With Slice and Dice, Chucky has to try and read or predict where the survivor is going to drop the pallet in order to get a hit with the power. However, while using this add-on, the mind game becomes an almost guaranteed hit for the killer. This is what I think will be getting changed next month when the good guy gets his changes. I think with this add-on alone, Chucky goes from being a top 7 or 8 A-tier killer and goes up to a top 4 or 5 killer because of how strong this is. Don't just take my word for it. If you don't believe me, do me a favor and give this add-on a try. I am not a good Chucky player, and still, playing him is a cakewalk with Rat Poison. But a ton of killers have add-ons that make them incredibly strong and easy. Most notably, we have Myers with Tombstone Piece, as well as Pig with Tamper Timer, etc, etc. So why is this add-on so exceptionally hated? Well, I think it might have something to do with Chucky already being a strong killer, and with this, he becomes much stronger. So let's recap this quickly. Chucky has a strong power that he can use every 12 seconds. He is very short and very unique to play
10
against.
seconds, I
He
believe.
also isn't very difficult to play for most players, and he's fairly popular, judging on pick rates that we have available to us. His original kit was incredibly cheesy and strong, not giving survivors a chance to really play the game, and similar to Skull Merchant, you could wonder if some of that ill will has carried over from that version of the good guy. And finally, Rat Poison, which is an incredibly oppressive add-on that takes agency out of the hands of the survivor player, leaving them in a situation where they have to just hope the killer makes a mistake. With all of that out of the way, do I think that Chucky deserves so much hate? Well, no. The killer's power doesn't. However, Rat Poison absolutely does. Like I said earlier, once Rat Poison is hopefully nerfed next month, we'll be left with a strong killer who has relatively okay add-ons, as well as a strong kit. He'll still be disliked, generally, due to just how differently you have to play against him, but that's just someone mad they lost. But that's okay, because certain players will always dislike certain killers. I had someone comment on a video and say Ghostface needs a big nerf, and I just couldn't understand that.
Interesting.
Honestly, I'm sure to some of you, the idea of Rat Poison needing a nerf is just downright unfathomable, and I'm a crying... Did I say that word right? Unfathomable? Unfathomable. You guys know what I mean. And I'm just a crying survivor, man, or whatever it is that people say. This is not just my opinion, though. I looked at the opinion of high-level Chucky players, I spoke to friends who play Chucky, all of them, without any exception, said that Rat Poison needs to be nerfed. You have a killer that would be strong, but not able to bring one thing to immediately swing the game in his favor. I would keep going on and on about Rat Poison at this point, but I'm so certain that this add-on will be changed next month, and I'm quite frankly tired of talking
It
about
probably will.
so that's where I'm going to end my part of the discussion. Let me know what you think about the good guy, as well as Rat Poison in the comments below. Please do like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're interested in more of my content. You'll find links to multiple YouTube videos that I use to learn a bit more about the good guy in the description below. Down there, you'll also find links to my Twitch and my community Discord server if you'd like to join us
He has a
there.
Twitch.
My name is
I'll have to
Kuhssir,
check
and
him
I will
out
hopefully see you
sometime.
guys next time. Bye bye, and have a great day.
Okay, with what he said, his main issue was rat poison, which That is completely fair. It is a very, very strong add-on that should not really be in the game, and if it is in the game, not nearly as strong as is currently. I feel like it should be made after you miss the slice and dice. You can kind of see where you need to go next, but then again, that's basically the new updated Predator perk, I believe. Um, but like the thing about Chucky that makes him different is he has basically a passive that makes it hard to see him because of his height. He has undetectable. He can also confuse survivors with where he's at on the map. He's 410 movement speed, so he moves a little slower. He doesn't have as much map mobility as a lot of other killers. And 32-meter terror radius when he does have a terror radius. And he also does not. A majority of his hits are special attack. Sorry, I do have a little bit of cold. But like the thing that I dislike about Chucky personally is he is such low skill floor for his dash. As you get back in such a short amount of time. I believe the cooldown went from 18 seconds to 12 seconds to 10 seconds with like the last update. So he's getting it back very, very quickly. A lot of times, a Chucky kid player can hit you with like a normal hidey ho hit and then just immediately dash afterwards, which I don't think it should be the case. I feel like the survivors should at least be able to, as soon as you get a hidey ho hit, it should quickly go away or you not have the ability to dash afterwards. I feel like that would be a healthy change. I also feel like um the the hidey ho mode works good. Sorry, this is part of the bloopers. Um, so as far as other changes I would do to him, I think his movement speed's fairly good. But thematically and logistically, competitively with the game, I feel like a lot of his powers should be placed more to the stealth aspect of Chucky, and because he can move across the map pretty effectively, not as effective as someone like Spirit. I would say that there should even be yeah, I would say just mainly reduce the distance of his dash and actually require him to sneak up on people. Maybe give him like a little longer duration for high-ho mode. But I feel like actually being able to give him the a more stealth-based power versus a chase power would be a lot more beneficial. And we have seen in multiple different um killers like Ghostface and Myers because of their stealth being a little bit weaker or rely on stealth, they can be very weak at times. So I think if they lean a little bit more into the stealth and a little less into the dash, it makes a lot more sense. He's also very much a stealth-based killer to start off with. Maybe even have a tier system where the more hits he is able to get in hidey ho, the far he's able to dash. Because right now he's just a very, very low skill floor killer for what you get out of him. He's the complete opposite of somebody like Singularity, who has a very high skill floor where you have to actually really understand loots to get a lot of value out of him and understand like projectiles before you start getting a lot of value out of him. Chucky, you just gotta understand how to walk around with Al with kind of low skill floor. Um, but yeah, that's all my thoughts on him for right now. He seemed make it Kuhssir seem Kuhssir or Kuhssir. I'm terrible with names. He made a great video. Make sure you give him like a like and follow. Seems like a good guy. I'm probably gonna see about checking out his Twitch myself. Uh, and I will see y'all in the fog. Bye bye.